Good day, everyone. How is your day? You are welcome to another class of ED 256 Physics Method. I'm a bit late, at least maybe 2 minutes behind schedule time. Now we are trying to get ourselves used to the system. Now this is what you call paradigm shift. I can see Madam Akimade, I can see Rufa, I can see Abdulkarim, I can see Abdulaziz. Let me find out. One of you should just unmute your mic and let me know if you are hearing me. Can you hear me? Akimade, Madam Akimade, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
I can hear you, sir.
Very good, very good. It means today's class is going to be scintillating as we are going to be philosophizing. We are going to examine some concepts in psychology of learning. So that will be our focus. I want to believe you have watched the videos, you participated in the discussion forum. I want to believe you have also examined the lesson notes. Yes, please mute your mic. Aziz, tell Mr. Abdulaziz to make himself visible. It is not allowed in the class. We have to see ourselves. It's a compulsory we see ourselves. So without wasting our time, we just have 30 minutes for this class. 30 minutes for this class. I'm going to share my screen, and every one of you should participate, be ready for your questions, and we're going to have a very nice moment. So most of you, your videos are becoming non-visible. Mr. Abdulkarim, I'm not seeing you. Akimada, I can't see you. I just want to believe maybe that may be due to internet. Now let's go to the main crux of the matter. Like I said, let me begin to share my screen. Yes, who is sending message? Please, it is not allowed. We're in the class. Don't send message. Okay, you want me to admit? Okay, admit all. I've admitted them. Yes, thank you very much for the message. You know, it's always good to come very early to the class. Now, our focus of discussion will be on theory of learning. Now, I hope you can see my screen. Akimade, is my screen visible to you? I don't want the experience.
Yes, sir. I can see your screen, sir.
Yeah. So unlike the last class where we had some issues. Now, so can Mr. Karim tell us the topic of our discussion today? Read from the screen. Mr. Karim, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what's the
topic says?
Go on.
The psychological theories of learning and their implications for science teaching.
Good. Now mute your mic. Yes, of course. My name is Oluwadamilare Amusa. Today is October 8th or 7th? I think today should be 8th. Okay, there's error in that date, but there's no problem. So we are going to look at some psychological theories of learning and the implication for science teaching. Now you can see these generic questions. You know, people want to know, how do students expand their thinking? How do they get new thinking? How do they improve on their thinking? You know, they must have gone through learning. One learning or the other could be formal learning and it could be informal learning. Of course, in an educational setting like this, the learning will be very formal. But you see, there are questions. How are concepts formed? Right within your mind. Of course, most of you have acquired several concepts. You have learned one thing or the other. How are these concepts formed? You must have asked yourself one day that how are these things? How did they come about, these things we're learning? For example, we are talking about theories of learning. How did we come about across these things? You can also ask, can the concept in science be handed over? Can you just pass it from generation to generation? You continue to pass it on, the way it is being made, it was made? Or do you want to ask that, how would learners build themselves up step by step? How would they come up with their new concept? You see, it is not too right to just continue to regurgitate the content and give it to you, and which is the major practice in so many of our classes today. We learn the old things without coming up with the new ones, and this is because the same things we learned 20 years ago, 30 years ago, is the same tradition we are passing on. We should live in an era where new things should come on board. Now, and lastly, what are the science concepts we hope to encourage science students to develop? What are the science concepts? For example, as we approach the new industrial revolution, they call it the fourth industrial revolution. Should we still remain with what we did in the past, what we have been learning 20, 30 years ago? You see, the paradigm shift has come. Now we talk about AI, artificial intelligence. People talk about new concepts. So we should not just allow learners, science students, to continue to hold on to the old concepts. They must develop their own concepts. So these are generic issues that we need to. Now, we are going to describe, in this class today, we are going to learn to describe Ausubel theories of learning. What is the position of Ausubel, David Ausubel, on learning? And we are going to also look at the implications of Ausubel theory of learning on science teaching and curriculum development. How does it affect us as physics teachers? Our discipline here is physics teaching at the secondary school level. How does this theory of learning, how does it impact on us? We're also going to look at Bruner theories of learning and discuss the implication of Jerome Bruner on science teaching and curriculum development. Of course, you can see this is David Ausubel, is a white man. Jerome Bruner is a white man. Robert Gunn is also a white man. These are prominent, psychologists. And you must also have heard about Jean Piaget. He's a renowned psychologist, cognitive psychologist. But all of them, unfortunately for us, we do not have the work of the Africans in this field, perhaps because we have not been able to make our work known. My distinguished professor, Professor Peter Okebukola, has always been telling us instructively that we should learn to promote African psychologists, cognitive psychologists as Africans. But alas, we are yet to come across their work. And that is why I've been able to make them black. You see the pictures, they are black. So today we have been able to make them black men. They are black men psychologists. Of course, they are, don't mind my joke. So, but we're only going to restrict ourselves today to the learning theory of David Ausubel and Jerome Bruner. David Ausubel and Jerome Bruner. And I want you to do your, personal findings. If you can search, do we have new learning theory from the continent Africa? I'll be glad you send your post to me. Now let's move on. Now, we're going to deal with that of Ausubel. First of all, Ausubel distinguishes between rote learning and meaningful learning of science. He tried hard to discourage rote learning. And that's why he says, what is the essence of rote learning? Does it have any significant impact in learning of science? So these are some of the issues, Ausubel raised. He also emphasized on prior knowledge and how it affects the learning of science. In science, do we need to cram our textbooks? Do we need to engage in rote learning? You memorize your Nikon and Parker, the textbook. You memorize your Abbott, OKK, all those textbooks. We should move away from rote learning. And this is one of the things that Ausubel is saying. And he's saying that the science teacher should lay so much emphasis on prior knowledge, previous knowledge, what the learners has brought to the class. Are you one of those teachers that imagine your learners, your students has come to class without having anything upstairs? Are you one of those teachers that will take center stage? You take the center of instructions instead of you putting the learners, your students, at the center of instruction. You take the entire stage and you reduce the learner to mere passive learners in the class. They do not participate, but you think they don't have prior knowledge. So Ausubel is telling you today that there should be emphasis on prior knowledge when you want to take take physics in your class. Furthermore, he lay emphasis that meaningful learning will only occur when there's appropriate connection, when there's appropriate link between what? Between prior knowledge and the new learning task. Whatever you are bringing up as the new learning task, you must ensure there is a premise for previous knowledge. That is one of the emphases of David Ausubel. He says, rote learning occurs when there's no appropriate link between what the students know and the new concept you want to introduce. Let me sound it clearly that you should never assume that your student is a tabula rasa. I mean, clean slate, that they don't know anything. No. So you should endeavor to always link the new learning, the new concepts with what? With previous knowledge. So if you cannot do that linkage, if you cannot ensure that link, then you are creating a room for rote learning. The further says that those parts of learner cognitive structure, okay, which cannot, form a basis for interaction for necessary and meaningful learning are called, which can form basis, yes, for interaction and necessary meaningful learning is called subsumer. There's a concept called subsumer. It refers to that part of learner cognitive structure, okay, which can create room for interaction for necessary meaningful learning. And lastly, Ausubel also talked about that if there is no link, if you cannot establish any link, then you must create one between the new concept and the previous knowledge of the learner. And that learning must be linked to existing knowledge to create meaning. If you want your learning to make meaning, you should be able to create adequate linkage. Now let's move on. Now let's look at the implication of Ausubel theory of learning, to science. And we have it that teaching must not begin until the teacher is sure, the teacher is certain that there is a previous knowledge. And it says, if we do not have one, we should create it. For example, we want to take a topic on, let me say, gravitational force. You should ask, it depends on the ingenuity of the learner to ensure, of the teacher to ensure that you link the new thing to, for example, gravitational force. Ask your students, if you throw any object up, where does it go? Of course, they know it will come down. From there, you have been able to establish a link. Then you can continue. So we must not start any teaching in a class unless there is what? Unless you're able to establish a previous knowledge. Teaching must not begin with new knowledge, you know. Teaching must begin with new knowledge in a sequential manner. In a sequential manner. So if you want to teach, you must start from simple to complex. You must start from what? From simple to complex. You must not take it from the complex position. So your content must be arranged in a sequential manner. And because of time constraint, let's go on to the next point. It says teacher must not present materials during teaching unless the learner is ready. Whatever you want to bring to class, you must ensure your learner are ready. And also, we also advocated for expository method of teaching rather than discovery. So, and lastly, it said content in science teaching must be what? Content in science teaching must be arranged in sequential, just like we have mentioned earlier, that the content you want to teach must be arranged in what? In sequential order. Now let's now talk about Jerome Bruner. Now, Mr. Lawal is just joining us. So I deliberately didn't log the class because I know most of us, we are not used to this teaching style. But gradually, if you come late to the class, I'm going to lock you out. So learn to keep to the time of the class. Now, in the case of Bruner introduced the concept of learning by discovery. He emphasized that discovery is a process of obtaining knowledge by use of one mental processes. So there should be mental engagement. You see, it depends on the teacher, and that is why you are going through this training. It depends on you. You should not dominate your class. You must allow your students to participate in the learning process. And they can only participate if you engage their mental processes. Jerome Bruner further said that learning by discovery begins when science teacher purposefully creates a problem. So for Jerome Bruner, as you approach your class, let me look at the time. As you approach your class, you must, create a problem. Take a problem to the class for the learners to brainstorm upon. And if you don't do that, you are yet to be a good teacher. Students have to solve problems through discovery. Yes, you must engage them mentally. They must discover the solution. They must find out. They must investigate. And this one will purposefully be created, even if there is no creative problem for them to work on. And Bruner further said that you can create that problem by coming up with some inconsistencies. This inconsistency will translate into intellectual discomfort for the learners. They are not stable. If you have learners that are very brilliant, that are sound, upstairs, they will definitely notice problems when you create it. Okay? And this will lead to individual discoveries through cognitive restructuring. Okay? So immediately there's a intellectual disability, then there will be internal reorganization. That is cognitive restructuring. So this one is very key, and it's one of the points raised by Jerome Bruner. And in the case of Jerome Bruner, he identifies two forms of discoveries, that of assimilation and accommodation. So I want you to go and find out, what does Bruner meant by assimilation? What does he mean by accommodation? There are two different concepts. So I don't want to take you further on that. Now, implication of Bruner's theories to learning science. One, he said we should put great emphasis that students should learn to generate their concept. They should come with ideas establish relationships, and create principles. You see, this is the hallmark of science. So we should try to make our learners come up with their own ideas. Okay, they should express it in the language, and that is one of the ways they can move on. Science teachers should deliberately create a problem. We have emphasized that you should deliberately create a problem for students to learn effectively. You should encourage discovery learning as this aid problem solving and creativity. Because some of these things will not come. You may not get them in your textbooks. It depends on your own creativity. It depends on your ingenuity. And that is why it is essential. It is very important. It is compulsory to make a plan before you go to class. During planning, you have taken care of some of these things. So I want you to continue to see Jerome Bruner. Let me put your pictures here. Now, this is Jerome Bruner, the psychologist. Science teachers should encourage science students to make intuitive guesses. You must make guesses systematically. You know, systematic guess is often referred to hypothesis in science. So you train them how to make good guesses and make them much more systematic. Now, also, teachers should emphasize on radical reorganization, of science curriculum. Most of you should belong to one subject organization. For example, in STAN, if you're a member of STAN, whenever you go for your conferences, try and make it an issue that the current curriculum, where students will continue to learn, those things that were learned in the 70s. And up to SS3, you are still doing those things. So all these things should be changed in the science curriculum. Now let's have a quick recap of what we have learned today. We talked about that Ausubel is so much particular about the use of power knowledge, that emphasis on power knowledge. He also told us that meaningful learning takes place when there's a proper link between power knowledge and the new knowledge you want to introduce, the new learning task. And he advised us that as science teachers, you must also learn to make your learning in sequence, make it sequential. And if you also go by that of Jerome Bruner, his emphasis is on learning through discovery. He said, discovery aids problem solving and creativity development, and identify two forms of discovery, which is assimilation and accommodation. Assimilation and accommodation. Now, we have 5 minutes to round up the class. And also, let's see what is all. Yes. Is that all? No. For today, we are going to end our class. But you see, I want you to go and read about the position of Robert Garnier and Jean Piaget on learning. And what would be, no, it's not time to say goodbye. What would be their own contribution? Find out their contribution to science learning and the implication for science. And I'm going to make this short discussion when we meet in the next class. So before I say goodbye, I want one of you to give us a brief summary of what we have discussed today. Mr. Aziz, I did not see Logbo in this class. Logbo was in class yesterday. Okay, say something. Okay, you decided to mute yourself. Okay, what have you in 1 minute? What have you gained in this class? Yes. So in 1 minute, what have you gained in this class?
From today's class, one important point I've gained is that as a physics teacher, you should prepare for your students before going to class.
Okay, that was very good. Then 1 point again for Mr. Lawal. Mr. Lawal.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I actually gained much about the discovery method, that whenever a teacher is about to go to a class, he or she must have gotten an idea of the kind of problem he will create for his or her student, such that the student will engage themselves mentally to have solutions to that kind of problem.
That's a very good one. That's a very good one. I can see Mr. Lawal is in his car. That's a very good of you. You see, that's how you identify those who have strong commitment to this class. Wherever you are, learning has been made so easy. Where even if you are on your boat moving to the island, wherever you are, just join the class and you're good to go. And you see, I don't want us to be locked out. We have 30 minutes for this class and we just have 2 minutes left. One word from Mr. Ahmad Jibril. One word. Mr. Ahmad. Yes.
Yes, so from today's class, from David also we are going to learn that we should not go for rote learning. And we should also make sure that we do not make that the belief that our students won't know anything about physics.
Okay, that's okay. Then can I hear just one concluding remark from Mr. Abdulaziz? Mr. Abdulaziz. Yes, in 30 seconds. 30 boots.
There should be new learning, not downloading every time.
Good. There should be new learning. That's the word. There should be new learning. And before we meet again in the next class, it is my pleasure to have you now and to always have you. My regards to every member of the class who has not been able to meet today. So see you next class. So bye. Bye to all of you. Goodbye.